Hello everyone, Yatna Varma, a student for our GSoC 2017, is now giving his demo.
Thank you, Bayu. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen with all of you. So you all can see the presentation, right?
Okay. Yes, we can see that.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the presentation for as my final report for Mobile Application Control Center, or MACC, which was the project for GSoC 2017. And this is the final report. So let's go ahead. So my mentoring organization was Anita Bog Institute, and we have a vision to promote more and more women into computing and into technology, and we work on that vision. So this project was under Anita Bog Institute in collaboration with Google Summer of Code, and the project which I worked on, MACC, is a product for Peace Corps, so it will be helpful for those people. Now let's go through the agenda of the presentation. So I'll start by introducing about myself. Then we will go about and see the other people on my project team. Then there will be a small introduction to the project. Then we will go ahead and see what features were added during this GSoC 2017. Then that will be followed by a live demo of all of the working features. After that, we'll see the call to action. And finally, we'll conclude with the question answers. So let's go ahead. So first, the student introduction, that is a bit about myself. So myself is Yatna Varma, and I currently reside in India. So I'm a fresh graduate from IIT BHU, which is in India. And currently, recently I have also joined Samsung Research and Development as a software engineer in Bangalore, India. So now the question comes, why MACC? So MACC is a project which is associated with a social cause. It is for the people at Peace Corps, so it impacts general people over a large scale. So that idea kind of promoted me to opt for this project. And also, I have been a returning student. Last year, I did my GSoC for Peace Corps for another Peace Corps project, which was the malaria app. So definitely, ABI was my first choice as an organization because I wanted to continue working on ideas which were related to that idea. Also, the MACC was my favorable option because it is based on Python and Django, which was comparatively new to me. So I wanted to learn something new, and that's why I went ahead with MACC. And now, what were the initial thoughts and what actually happened at the end of GSoC? So to a great extent, we were able to finish what we promised in the beginning of the GSoC 17, and we were able to deliver all the features which we had promised and mentioned in our timeline. Along with that, we also managed to add some additional features which came along as a requirement during these 2-3 months. So basically, we finished all that we had mentioned in our proposals, plus some new tasks as well. So let's go ahead now, and I'll introduce you to my team and the people who were along with me in this project. So first of all, we had our admin, Angel, and she had also been a mentor for in last GSoC for the same project, MACC. Then we had 2 mentors, Bayu and Medha. So Medha was student on MACC last year in GSoC 2016. And there were 2 students as well, Gunpreet, who was my co-student, and myself, Yatna. And I had been a GSoC student last year for a different project, which was malaria prevention application. So now, an overview about what Malaria Application Control Center is all about. So Malaria Application Control Center is a web platform which is used to manage content and data for the Peace Corps mobile applications. So Peace Corps has certain mobile applications like the malaria prevention application and the first aid web application and the first aid mobile application. So these applications have some content which is rendered to the user. So basically, MACC is the place from where you can add, edit, delete all the content and manage all the content. And it is important because it is the controlling body of all the mobile application. So all the broadcasting of posts and contents happens through MACC. The target audience of MACC are the Peace Corps admin. So only they will have the ability or the permission to add or control what content is being rendered on those mobile applications. And the benefits of MACC is that it becomes quite easy to add posts and contacts and all the text which is being displayed on the pages through a UI which is rendered. So it's easy to add it and delete. And also all the changes which are being made are tracked, and a nice revision control is being maintained, so we can see what changes are being made in the applications. And also this year a feature has been added which will keep a record of all the users which are using the malaria application. So basically it will now also have a control over who are using the application and have all the details of the users. So this was about MACC. So now we will see what features were added by me in Google Summer of Code 2017. So there were 8 main features which were added in this GSoC, and apart from that, there were several small features as well. So we'll go one by one on the features. So first feature was UI improvement. So before this GSoC, the MACC had a decent UI, but some things were missing, like there were repetitions of UI element and some basic UI elements were missing, and there was repetition of things. So in this GSoC, we worked upon the UI, and we removed all the unnecessary things, and whatever things can be generalized, we created a generalized version of those things and basically tweaked the UI and gave it a new look. So that was the first task. The second task was social media integration. So before this GSoC, the user could sign up for the application through a form and then log in using his username password. And after this GSoC, there is an additional option to log in through your social media profiles. So you can currently log in via Twitter or via Google. So that will automatically sign you up and it will log in you, so you don't have to remember your username, passwords, and all for logging in. The third feature which was added was to support images and links in the posts. So before this GSoC, the posts supported 2 fields. First was the title, and second was the content, which was only text. So in this GSoC, I added 2 more fields. Now the post can support images as well as links, hyperlinks as well. So now the posts have become more rigorous now because they can support images and links as well along with the text. So that was the third task. The fourth task was adding some missing pages. So in the footer, there were some pages which were missing, like about, help, policies, and details. So I created these pages, and these pages have now been added. So these pages provide useful links which will be helpful for the users to go through, like the policies, Peace Corps policies, and where to get help and whom to contact in case of any difficulty. So these pages were also added. Next feature was addition of profile picture to user's profile. So there was, till now there wasn't an option for the user to add his profile picture, but now user can add his profile picture to his profile and also edit it whenever he feels like. So that was one of the features added. The next feature was integrating the malaria app users to keep record of the users in MACC. So this was an additional feature proposed by me in the proposal. So now what's happening is that whenever a user signs up in the malaria prevention Android app, so his details are automatically being sent through an API to a server, and from that server, the MACC catches all the information about the users and stores it in his database. So we have a record of all those people who are using the malaria application. And if the user changes any details, or suppose he changes his email ID, or a new user gets ads in, so that detail is automatically fetched and added to the MACC database. So at every time we will have a fresh and maintained list of all the users who are using the application. So that will be a feature which can be useful, and it can be things can be added to make it a more robust feature in the future. So that was one interesting feature added. The next thing was providing first aid web team with dynamic content through APIs. So this was an additional task. It wasn't mentioned in my timeline, but The requirement came in the middle of our GSoC period, and we finished this task. So basically, what the first aid web team wanted was to design its web pages dynamically, so that if they have to change the content of any page, they can easily do it without changing the code base. So currently, we are providing 21 types of APIs to the first aid team, where they can add content or edit content via UI, so they won't have to go into the code and change the content. So these APIs are rendered dynamically through in a JSON format, and all the data is extracted from the JSON and rendered on the first aid team. So this was another feature. And the last feature was integration of Sphinx. So Sphinx is a nice library which automatically generates documentation for the code in a nice format. So if any code is changed or any code is added, so the user won't have to manually go and add it to the documentation. It will be automatically added or changed in the documentation as generated by Sphinx. So this documentation is also available in various formats like HTML, PDF. So currently it's there in HTML format, and it's there in the project, and we can view, search things in the documentation. So these were the features. And now there was a question about how did I tackle my work. So my working average hours was 40 to 42 hours per week. And in the later part of my GSoC, I also started my job at Samsung. So at that time, I was able to give 4 to 5 hours on weekends and 9 to 10 hours, 4 to 5 hours on weekdays and 9 to 10 hours on weekends. So that also averaged to about 40 hours a week. So that was the time I spent on this GSoC per week. And also we had our tasks defined for each upcoming sprint, which was generally a week at the starting of the week itself. So in the beginning of the week itself, we had a clear idea of what we are going to do in this week. A system of daily updates from both the students. So that helped a lot in collaboration, and it avoided any repetitive work being done by both the students or any work colliding or roadblocking each other's work. So that was a good thing to do. And in the earlier part of my GSoC, in the second and third week specifically, I had some troubles because the Python version was being upgraded, and I had a task which was blocked due to that. So like there was a bit of confusion and some roadblock, but eventually the communication channels were established and we were able to communicate freely. And so like the things worked out fine. And also I had some buffer time allotted in my timeline. Those buffer time helped me to implement the additional tasks which were given to me during the GSoC period. And in case I faced any roadblocks, so I preferred working on side tasks as well, so that my timeline doesn't get delayed due to that roadblock. Also, whenever providing a feature to another team, we had clear requirements through meetings and discussions about what features were required and what were their expectations and what we can deliver. So that helped us in doing the tasks for other teams as well. Comparison between what features were proposed and what features were implemented. So on the left-hand side, we can see the proposed features, and on the right-hand side are the implemented features. The first feature proposed was the UI improvement. So yeah, we have been able to complete the UI improvement tasks, and this was our first task. It was a collaborative task between me and Gunpreet, who's the second student. So this task also opened up a channel for both of us collaborating, and we became comfortable with each other, working with each other. So it was a good start task. The next task was the social media login sign up. So now the social media login sign up has been added, and the user can log in via Twitter or Google, which are the social accounts. The next task was extending the post to support images and links. Now the users can add images and hyperlinks along with text and title as well. Then there was the task to add the missing pages from footer, and that has been added. So these 4 pages are available in the footer, that is detail, help, policy, and about. And the next was adding profile picture to user profile. So the user can now add and change their profile picture in the profile section. Then there was this task to integrates Sphinx for automatic code generation. So Sphinx is integrated and the documentation is available in HTML format, and it automatically gets updated if there is any code change. Then there was the task to sync Malaria app users to MACC database. That has also been done. So currently the users are being rendered through an API that is via GIST, and they are being automatically added or updated in the MACC database. Then there was this task to fix bugs which were present in the application. So me along with Gunpreet, we have fixed all the bugs which were visible to us and which were there in the application. Now the additional tasks. So basically, these are the additional tasks which were not there earlier in the timeline, but I managed to finish them during this time of 2-3 months. So first was discussion regarding GIST-based APIs versus project-based APIs. So earlier we had this dilemma that should we render the APIs through GIST or project. So we had a nice discussion, and I took the we posted on our Slack channel, and we had a good discussion about what are the benefits of one and what are the demerits of the another. So after a lot of comparison and comparing, we finally came to the conclusion that we will be implementing through project-based APIs. So the next task for me was to create those 21 categories of APIs as per the first aid team requirements. And after creating them, we had a meeting and got the thumbs up from their side about the completed task. And I also helped the first aid team student to set up and run an MACC on their local machine from the scratch, since they have to use those 21 APIs, and for that they need the first aid running on their local server. So I helped her install and run MACC. So that was the additional tasks which I completed. So now we will see a working demo of what features I have implemented. So let's go ahead. Okay, so this is the login page of our application. As you can see, the UI is a bit tweaked and it appears different from what it was earlier. You can see that the sign up page has been reduced a lot. Earlier, the sign up page was taking the whole screen and we had to scroll down to add more things. But now there are just 4 things and you can easily sign up. So the length of sign up form has been reduced, and also Bootstrap has been added. So the UI is now more responsive and better in all terms. So this was the first feature. Now we'll sign in the application and we'll go to the malaria posts. So now you can see that along with title and description, we have a column to provide important links and an image button from where we can choose any file from our system, and the post will have images and links as well. So we can view these posts, we can see the image and the link, and we can edit those image or the link as well. We can just choose another file or edit the link here. So, and we can delete the post as well. So this was the second feature. The third feature was the user profile. So now you can see that we have a nice image of the user, and the user can edit his image from here, choose another profile picture if he wants. So that was the third feature. And then there was those missing pages on the footer. So if we click, we can see that now these pages have been added. We can just go through the pages and all the important information is provided in the form of hyperlinks. So you can just go here and see the Peace Corps handbook or rules and regulations and everything. So these are some of the pages which were added. And then there was this feature to log in via social account. So if we click here, we can see that we have option to log in via Twitter and via Google. So suppose we click Google, so it will provide us the option to choose any of our Google Mail IDs. So suppose I go ahead and click this. So it has automatically logged in the application without having the need to type any password or username. So this was another feature. And the next feature was the first aid API for the first aid team. So here we can create a new card for those APIs. In the post category, we have 21 categories from where we can select any category. Suppose I select Mythbusters, and here I can add some content. And the other informations will automatically be added to these cards in the backend, so the user won't have to select those information. So when we click on submit button, we can see that a new card has been added. And if we want to see this card rendered as an API in JSON format, we can just log on to our localhost address slash slash API slash first aid and slash whatever ID of the category is. So if we click enter, we can see that all our card content is being rendered. And if we want this in the JSON format, we can just append a question mark and format is equal to JSON. So we will have all the content being rendered in JSON. So from this link, anybody like the first aid team can pick the details and just parse out the content and render it on their web page. So this was another feature. And the next is the next one is the automatic document generation. So this is our Sphinx documentation, and we have a search bar where we can search anything. We have also an index where we can see all the document related things in an alphabetical order. We can just click on anything and see its documentation. Also, there is a nice search button which helps us in searching features quickly. So suppose I want to see all the malaria models, so I can just click enter and click on go, and it will give me all the documentation regarding the models of malaria application. So this was the Sphinx generated documentation. And the last feature was the integration of malaria app users to the database of MACC. So currently I have hosted the malaria app users on a gist. So this is my gist, which gives me the details of the malaria application users, their name, email, age, gender, and what medicine type are they using. So in the malaria application, there are 3 types of medicine. So those medicine details are also given. So if we go on our project and we go to the localhost malaria / list app users, we can see that a list of all the users is given. And if that list is updated through the mobile application, that changes will automatically be reflected here, and the changes will be given here. And if a new user adds, then that changes will also be rendered here. So yeah, this was the demo of all the features. Now we'll continue with our presentation. So these were the general screenshots, but since we have seen the working demo, so we'll skip the screenshots. Now, call to action. So this is for the future people who would want to set up the project. So the setting up the project is quite easy. You have to just visit github.com/sisters/mac, and there is a nice installation guide linked in the README, which will work for any machine with Linux, Windows, or Mac OS. So you can just follow the installation guide blindly, and you can set up the project easily. And how to contribute? So after you set up the project, you can follow the contribution guide, which is also linked in the README, and see some general guidelines for contributing. And if in case of any doubts, you can contact the admins or the mentors or the people on the GitHub repo itself. You can create an issue or ask, comment anything, and people will be there to help you out. So device needed to set up, you just need a laptop with any of the operating system, and rest there will be some libraries which you can easily download, and that's all what's needed to set up the project. So yeah, this was for the contributors. And last, the gratitude. So I'm very thankful to all the admins at Sister, all the 4 admins, for managing the entire GSoC with such ease. And especially I'm very thankful to my entire MACC team, Angel, Bayu, Gunpreet, and Medha, for being there all the time and for helping me out finish this project. And without their help, this wouldn't have been possible. And yeah, that was it. So now I'm open for question answers.
Thank you, Yatna.
Thank you, Bayu.
Could you give me an example of what experience in this project has helped you grow? Let me know if you need me repeat the question.
Yatna, you're on mute.
Yatna, you are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So apart from the technical things which I have learned in this GSoC, the more important thing which I have learned here is communication and collaboration, because I guess technical things we can learn like by doing the project on ourselves. But when you are in a team of these many people who have different experiences and have from different culture, you get a lot to learn. Apart from technical things, there are many soft skills which you learn, and for me that was the more important thing which I learned in this GSoC. Managing with, working with other people and working on the same thing, like collaboration. That was the thing which I learned this GSoC, which will be highly valuable for me in my coming years.
Thank you. It's good on my side.
Okay.
Madaha, would you have any question?
I think there is a audio issue on Madaha's side since it's festival season in her local region. Her question was, knowing Yatna as a return student, how would you compare being a return student for your experience?
Okay, so last year I was a student on an Android application, which was the malaria prevention application, and both the experiences have been good, but there is quite a lot of difference between those. So last year I was more focused on the technical side, and I didn't get much to interact with people and communicate with my mentors and admins. But this year it was more open and more collaborative. This year I was also working with a co-student, so we had the opportunity to collaborate and everything. And also this year it was a completely new technology stack for me. So I had been working on Android before, like 1 or 2 years before appearing for GSoC last year. But this year Python was completely new to me. So that was something which this GSoC had. And also this year the GSoC was more organized and more in all ways it was better than last year experience. Like both the experiences were good, but this was better.
Awesome. Yatna, thank you for such a great summer and your work and contribution to
Thank you, Angel. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, cool. Do we have any other questions?
I'm good.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Then we will hang up the call now.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.